Perfect. Find you guys. There you guys are. All right, 10:04. Let's start recording. I'm pretty sure a couple more people will be trickling in here, but start getting going. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. Um, I know I did. Starting next week, we do have the new training for updated hometown heroes. So most likely, not next week, the week after, we'll be talking about the updated guide, stuff like that, for the hometown heroes and things like that. Here. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go over some news here. So rates took a big hit once again last week after good recovery because the jobs report that came in from the Bureau of Labor Statistics for the month of May showed that 339,000 jobs were created, which was way stronger than the estimates of 190,000. So the mark was missed by about what 170,000, 160, right around there. One of the biggest reasons we saw such high job gains is because they do have, like, within their actual reports or survey, they have different surveys within it that mean different things. So one of them was the birth/death model, where they estimate hires from new business creations relative to closed businesses, right? And the problem is this is usually an overestimate when the economy is on a downturn, and it's an underestimate when the economy is on the uptick. And the reason why I say that specifically too is because even in May, this same model that we're talking about showed 231,000 job creations for the month of April. So you're telling me that there were enough businesses being open for an extra $100,000 or 100,000 jobs from one month to the next, especially with the way that the economy is going right now? I highly doubt that. We also saw as well, which is another thing that really doesn't make sense within this report, but the market reacted negatively anyway. The fact that we had 310,000 job losses, which increased unemployment from 3.4% to 3.7%. So you are worried about these job openings or these job creations that are 200,000, pretty much almost 200,000 people over the estimates of what we see, but we also see an uptick in unemployment, which is typically what's really good for bonds. So we had a negative for bonds, which was the job creations, and then we also had a positive. Ultimately, it ended up in a negative in terms of rates kind of reversing a lot of the work that it kind of had or built up in the past week. And so we're kind of where we were before before the debt ceiling was reached, which was like close to the sevens. I would say about 6.8, 6.9 again. Initial jobless claims are continuing to be elevated at a consistent 230,000 for the last few weeks, and continuing claims are also staying the same as well at about 1.8 million people still receiving unemployment benefits. Remember, initial jobless claims are people applying for unemployment for the first time, and continuing claims are people that are still receiving those unemployment benefits. Okay, we haven't spoken about this much so far this year. It's mostly my fault, but I feel like this is something we should be going over every single month, and that's the home price appreciation, especially with the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which is the kind of like the gold standard, is what the market kind of looks at when they're looking at home price appreciation nationally and within specific markets. So for the month of March, it showed we had a 0.4% increase from February to March, which is basically only month over month. And nationally, this is the number that's actually pretty surprising. Nationally, we're at 0.6% home price appreciation year over year. So we see that number really, really low. The prior month, which was February, was at 2%. So we're seeing that home price appreciation is really dipping nationally. However, right, we are in South Florida. And you guys know that last year, South Florida ended at 13.8% year over year from January to December. Right now, from March to March, we are at 7.7% year over year, the South Florida market. We are the highest market of home price appreciation year over year. Second place is Tampa at 4.8% year over year. So South Florida is a completely different market than what it is nationally. I was actually talking to this about somebody this year, which is kind of a good thing for us because technically speaking, the market has slowed down tremendously, and we see those national numbers kind of showing that. But within our market, we're still really, really healthy and really over what the averages are for year to year. Remember, average home price appreciation is anywhere between 3 to 5% year over year. So we're pretty much above average right now, which is a good thing. Federal Housing Finance Agency also came out with their home price index for March, and they're at 3.6% year over year nationally, with the South region being 6.1% year over year. But that includes states like Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas as well. Now, the big difference why the FHFA one is different from the Case-Shiller index is because Case-Shiller includes all homes, no matter what the transaction is. FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Agency, remember that's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. So they're only doing loans, or they're only doing their home price appreciation based off of loans that they've done. So anything that's within the conforming loan limits, really they don't count anything that's cash within their report, or anything that's a jumbo loan, right? That may be over that conforming loan limit. So it's only specific to basically home price appreciation based off of the loans that they've done, because that's the data that they have. Now, as we get closer to, that's pretty much it for the news. I'm going to jump back into Hometown Heroes. I've said this in the past, but I'm going to kind of reiterate it a little bit. Now, as we get closer to July, next week is the official training for Hometown Heroes. So not next week, but the following, I will have the full breakdown on what the new guidelines look like. I don't really believe it's going to be too different from what they've told me specifically, because I've sent multiple emails and asked specific questions for them to answer. But just in case, I would say, and I've already said this, oh, someone's not muted. Sorry, guys. Good. And I will continue to reiterate it until we get to July 1st. But it is very possible we do get into a mini version of what we saw in 2020 and 2021 with bidding wars and over asking very, very, very fast. So be diligent, please. The reason I bring this up is because on average, on an FHA 3.5% down, the estimated cash to close utilizing Hometown Heroes right now is around 7,000 to 8,000. Unconventional 3%, it's around 5 to 6, and 5% down conventional is usually 10 to 12,000. And people still have money saved, right? And when they're buying a home, they will find more money. It happens very often. And so with that, this program, Hometown Heroes, a lot of down payment assistance programs, they will not allow this, where you can not bid over asking price or pay more than what the appraised value is. Hometown Heroes does not have that guideline. You are able to bid over asking. You just cannot use the funds that you're getting from down payment assistance to do that. But if you have your own money, you can pay over asking price. Okay. And this is very important because let's say we've got 3 people, they're all bidding on the same property, right? And this is going to be an issue. Before I kind of actually jump into that, I want to let you guys know that this is going to be a really big issue because remember, inventory is still very, very low. This Hometown Heroes program is not going to open up inventory because it's only for first-time home buyers. So the existing sellers, they're not going to just be selling because they want to utilize down payment assistance funds. It's not going to happen, right? So we're still going to have the very, very tight inventory that we have, especially with rates being elevated. And let's say, back to my point, right, that we have three people bidding on the same property. One has $10,000 saved. The second one has $15,000 saved. The third one has $20,000 saved, right? And they all bid on the same property. Listing agent comes back and says, give me your highest and best, right? We have multiple offer situation. Person with 10,000, maybe they're gonna say, you know what? I'll go $5,000 over appraised value. I really want this property. Second person is gonna be like, I'll go to 7, right? Third person is gonna be like, I have 20. Shit, I'll go to 10. $10,000 over appraised value, right? And so this is what's going to start to happen if we are not careful. Now, obviously, sometimes the clients really want the home and they really want to be able to move into it. I think our job is just to make sure that we advise them and we advise them correctly, okay? Because here's something that people don't often think about when they're doing these transactions is the refinance aspect to it, right? Is the fact that you're getting this down payment assistance and you're getting 100% financing, 101, 102. You're already going to have a hard time being able to refinance in the next couple of years if rates dip. If you're going over appraised value, you're just pushing that timeline even further for yourself to hold on to that mortgage much, much longer, because even though appreciation is great right now in South Florida, and I do believe that if we do get these bidding wars, appreciation will continue to increase, right? How it has been, because home prices are going to continue to go up. But you're still pushing that, pushing your refinance much, much further than you necessarily may have to, because of that overbidding and things like that, because you are going to have to pay off that Hometown Heroes loan when you do refinance. And so if you're coming in at 95% LTV with 5% down payment assistance, you're pretty much already at 100% financing, plus another $10,000 above that. You may be at 101, 102 upside down on that property. And now rates dip down in 6-12 months. And the only way you're going to be able to refinance is if you pay money out of pocket to either pay off that Hometown Heroes loan or something like that, because you're not going to get that appreciation that quickly, right? It may take 2-3 years for you. You're going to be holding on to that higher interest rate. So it's just about having that conversation with that client and letting them know that this is going to be the reality for them moving forward, right? You want to pay over appraised values, you really want the property because you have the funds right now, absolutely. But remember, Mike told you about refinancing. This is going to push it much, much further away, and it's not going to become a realistic thing. And we'll have that conversation with them as well. But I just want you guys to know, be very diligent, very responsible when this thing comes out, because it is going to be crazy, because we're not going to get an influx of inventory all of a sudden. Remember, inventory is only created through new construction. It's not created from a seller, because a seller ends up being a buyer. They have to live somewhere, right? So we're not going to have elevated inventory from sellers, because they're technically don't create inventory. What creates inventory is construction and new construction. And we know that those are very, very slow right now, very few far in between. So inventory levels are still going to be tight, which means we're going to have multiple people bidding on the same properties. And we're going to have these issues, and just make sure that they're aware that that refinance is going to may take a little bit longer than what they anticipate. They won't be able to refinance in 6 months like they're thinking. Now, the people that have utilized Hometown Heroes within the past year, since they came out last year, they're probably going to have a better chance to refinance in 2024. But it'll be about a year and a half since they bought their property. And if this summer really is what we believe it's going to be in terms of homes kind of going off the market and being overpraised and stuff like that, then those people they're the ones that are going to benefit, the old Hometown Heroes, right? The veteran Hometown Heroes people, not the newer ones. So they'll have a good chance to be able to refinance in 2024 if rates dip, or at the end of this year if rates dip. But those newer people, they're going to probably have to wait quite some time, especially if we're going to consider those overappraised value bids. But that's pretty much it. That's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I don't know if you guys have any scenarios, any questions, or anything like that.
Hey, Mike, this is Tiana. I have a quick question. With the Hometown Heroes loan, are the buyers able to buy down their rate?
Great question. Okay, so in theory, no, you have to take the rate that you get. Okay, it does happen on a case-by-case basis. A lot of people do not know this. I've done it where we go directly to them. We can buy down the rate, but it's only for qualification purposes. It's not because for them to get a better rate. So if they're at 6.25 and they won't qualify unless they get to a 6 on this property, then Hometown Heroes will say, hey, we'll allow you to buy down the rate to this percent, to 6%, a quarter, in order to help you qualify. Okay. But it's not automatically where they could, there's a rate sheet there and they can use funds to buy down the rate. So yes and no, it's more so for qualification, and it really is case by case basis with them. They don't really allow everybody to do that. Great question though. I just didn't know if I want to tell you guys that, because then I'm going to get an influx of people asking me to buy down the interest rate for Hometown Heroes. The answer in short, guys, is really no. I'll pretty much be the one to make that decision if we need it to buy in order for the qualification. But I can't go to Hometown Heroes and just say, hey, this person doesn't want a 6.25, they want a 5.75, even though their DTIs are below 49. Their DTIs would have to be above that, and the rate would have to get them into qualify. You guys have, that's a good question, Luciano. You guys have any other questions? No? I know Kia had an open house on Friday, that this past Friday, that I think she's going to be doing, an open house this week or next week. She has a new listing coming up. Kia, I don't know if you want to let everybody know about it.
Oh, good morning. Yes, we're still trying to pinpoint when and the listing price, but what I did was I hosted an investors open, and this may be something that you all might want to try to do for your listings. Essentially, having this investors open brought people to the property that probably wouldn't see it, but it really gave me some really great ideas in terms of combating the red flags for this house. So essentially the house is in Liberty City. It's a really great house. It's over 1,600 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. However, it was built in 1956. So you can imagine there are some things that need some, upgrades. And so selling it to people who are looking to, or buyers who are looking to buy a more updated home, I was looking for some ideas as to how to combat those questions and really get ahead of them. And so I was telling Mike, hey, maybe we should be sharing some of these kinds of ideas with each other on Monday's call, so that we all can be sharing ideas to figure out how we can combat this market and really dominate. Obviously, it's different for a lot of us, being brown and Black. It's a different market for us, and keeping our clients engaged and keeping people, really seeing forefront of our homes. So that's what I did. And hopefully, if anybody has any questions or wanted to know how it went or whatever, I'm happy to help and let you know. It's definitely something that I will continue to do because you just never know who might walk through those doors and give you some really good advice as to how to make the market, beat the market in terms of getting your house out there for top dollar.
Yeah, so basically the house, like kind of how Kia explained, that the house is a little bit updated. You get a lot of home buyers that they want to come in and they don't see the potential that comes with these houses, and so they get a little bit nervous. And so Kia, right, she has a responsibility to her owner to try to get highest and best if she possibly can, and not just ultimately just completely try to give the house away. Because it needs some sort of cosmetic work, because from what we saw, structurally, everything's okay. It just needs some TLC and some upgrades. So what her idea is she went and did an investors open with some investors that she knows. She had them come to the property, look at it, and get some ideas from them. And she's still, if they submit an offer, she's still going to present it to the seller. But she's going to say, how about we test the open market, because I got some great ideas from these investors about how they can expand the kitchen, how they can close off the back and make that into an efficiency, how they could do this, how they could do that. And so now, as opposed to lowering or selling that property for less, even though the owner may be okay with that, now you end up getting, maybe $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 more for your seller. That's a client for life, right? So it was a great idea. And when she told me she wanted to share it, I said, absolutely. So if you guys have listings that are kind of like that as well, it just needs a little bit of TLC. You don't really know how you can sell it. It's a good idea for you to, bring in some people that that are investors and see what kind of ideas they have. Madam President, you had a question?
I just had a comment for Kia. She should check in with Commissioner Christine King. She is District 5, I believe. She has a $100,000 grant that she is utilizing in that area, and that could be something that could help her possibly with a first-time home buyer that may want to purchase in that area. I'm not sure exactly what type of work needs to be done, but it's definitely worth looking into.
Look at that. Thank you so much, Madam President.
Will you tell me the name again, please?
Christine King. I put it in the chat. Commissioner Christine King.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Tiana says she also has an open house this Sunday, 2 to 4 Miami Gardens, 1230 Northwest 192nd Street. She says any realtors that do Monday Mortgage Minute, you get first dibs. So just be there right at 1:30 and you'll be good to go. No, I'm kidding. But if you guys do have these open houses, do have these scenarios, thank you, Kia, for always sharing. We want to make sure that we open up the floor for you guys to give your ideas as well, right? Because I'm one person. I'm going to give you the market news. I'm also going to be doing some presentations for you. I might have a presentation next week for you guys so that it's not always market news and it's things that are going to better your business. But always come ready to ask questions, give your feedback, things that you've learned throughout the week as well, or different things that you're utilizing in your business, because this year's and the end of last year was relatively hard market to kind of navigate. The good thing is, or the good news is that 2024 is still looking like it's going to be the best purchase year in the history of mortgage banking specifically. A lot of influx of buyers that are going to be coming in 2024. It's just what the experts say. And so we're trying to make sure that we get through 2023, and we can only do that if we do that together. If you guys do not have any other questions, I do have one more thing that I want to let you guys know. We have, if you're not part of NAREB, I'm on the board. Sonia Hickman is our president for 2023. Try to get to some of these events that we have. Follow us on Instagram. We have one on the 15th, which is next Thursday, after hours. And then we have another one on the 24th with Linda Julian, Commissioner Miami Gardens, talking about home ownership and kind of what she's doing over there in her district. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much for coming, and we'll see you next week, Monday.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, Mike.